Meet the Cleric, a build designed to keep your team alive in the toughest of situations, ensuring you never get overrun by the enemy. As always, if you enjoy these builds, then don't forget to give them a like and subscribe if you're new around here for even more For Honor content. The Cleric is a Conqueror. This heavy class warrior has plenty of health and defense to keep himself alive. Even when outnumbered, you can hold your own far longer than most other heroes. This character focuses on being more of a support than a main. You won't be taking all of the objectives, and you probably won't end up with the most kills at the end of a round. What you will do, however, is revive your teammates whenever they go down, and keep the enemy from being able to gang up on the other players on your team. Focus on playing heavily into defense. Don't worry so much about getting attacks in on enemies, and instead focus on letting their attacks bounce off of your shield. That being said, if an opportunity does present itself, don't be afraid to get in an attack. This character still packs a fair punch, and can take down enemies who become overconfident through the use of devastating heavy attacks. The most important part of fighting is to use your shield effectively. You can block in all directions at once with this class, and this is great for if you're being attacked by multiple enemies. You don't have to have the quickest reflexes on the planet in order to survive. Instead, you can just go full defensive and hold off the enemies until a friendly comes along and helps you out. If possible, I would recommend playing this character in matches such as Elimination, where keeping your team alive matters the most. In addition, if you are playing with friends, then make sure they are calling out when they need you to be ready to revive them. As an additional note, if you want some great tips for playing as a Conqueror, then there will be a link below to the comment section of a Reddit post I made, where a user by the name of Apotsy gave me some great tips, so check that out. Also, I apologise if I pronounced the name wrong. The feats for this character are Speed Revive, Fiat Lux, Heal on Block, and Regenerate. Speed Revive is the essential feat for this build, and it significantly increases the speed at which you can revive a fallen teammate. In a few different matches, I was even able to revive someone whilst in the middle of a fight, turning things in my favour by having a fully healed hero at my side. Fiat Lux is a flash grenade, and is good for evading enemies or for supporting your friends. Be careful when you use this, as its area of effect can end up with you blinding friendlies, but if used right, this can disorient an opponent long enough for them to be killed or for you to escape from them. The Heal on Block feat really ties into the defensive nature of this build. Not only does it promote you to block more than attack, but it also helps you detain your opponents for long periods of time. Even if you do lose a fight against a couple of them, you should have been able to keep them busy long enough for your team to capture some objectives or get some easy kills. The feat also makes close fights go more in your favour. As you and your enemy weaken each other, you have a way to heal during the fight itself, helping you to stay on top. The final feat is Regeneration. This one is situationally useful. Ideally, it keeps you alive between fights and helps you to not become an easy kill for an enemy who encounters you shortly after you've had a hard fight. With how the game sometimes plays though, you may struggle to get out of combat and have this feat actually activate. In the matches with lots of fast enemy heroes, this won't do you much good, but if you're up against other heavies, then this can end up giving you a serious edge. For your gear, you will want to try and focus on getting every single defensive aspect as high as possible. For me personally, I had really bad luck with the gear I got from matches, so my loadout doesn't look that great, but I at least got the defense boost from the head of my weapon up a bit. The arms are the most important armor piece of this build, as all three bonuses help this build out a lot. If you can though, try to focus on getting your revive speed as high as possible, in order to get people up ASAP. The Cleric was once a member of the Iron Legion. At the time he joined, things didn't seem so bad. There was some semblance of peace in the land, and he felt that he would be able to do some good protecting people. This all changed once the Blackstone Legion attacked. The fort he was garrisoned in fell under siege from Apollyon, and in a matter of hours, the gates were broken and knights bearing the Blackstone emblem began slaughtering all those inside. The Cleric tried his best to save as many lives as possible, but despite his best efforts, he was forced to watch so many of the people he had lived with die before his eyes. He began fighting back against the enemy soldiers, burying his flail into their skulls, and carving a path towards the gate, hoping to somehow close it and prevent more soldiers from entering the fort. The advance was in vain, however. The Blackstone soldiers overwhelmed the fort, and the Cleric was knocked unconscious during a fight. He woke up sometime later to see the fort bathed in flame, and a blade resting against the side of his neck. Around him were the bodies of his dead allies, and it was clear that they had lost the battle. At first, he accepted the fact that this was how he would die. They had been outnumbered, and death was inevitable. His mind kept thinking of all the soldiers he had failed to save, though. He had tried his hardest, but they were dead, and the only thing he could give them now was vengeance. Feeling rage wash over him anew, he slammed into the knight next to him, sending the man's sword flying through the air, and he used the opening to repeatedly slam his fist down into the enemy's face. His anger gave him strength, and through the red haze he saw the pummeled face of the knight, disfigured and caved in by the force of his blows. It may have only been one more dead Blackstone, but at least he felt he had gone some way to avenging the dead. He stood and waited for someone to step forward and cut him down, but instead, he was handed back his weapons and welcomed by the enemy. Not fully understanding what was happening, the cleric ended up following them, and before he was able to grasp the situation, he was already wearing Blackstone colours. For several years he fought under their banner, travelling around Ashfeld and trying to save as many lives as possible. He no longer cared who it was he was saving. If he saw an injured soldier, then his immediate reaction was to run towards them and do all that he could to save their life. The other members of the Legion ended up respecting him for this, and in time he caught the eye of the Warden. When the rebellion against Apollyon began, he was one of the first to join the Warden, and did all that he could to try and save the lives of those fighting against her. Despite his hope that peace would come once Apollyon is slain, this was not to be. War continues to rage on for many more years, and he will keep on saving the lives of as many as he can, hoping that one day they will all be able to live out their lives in peace. Thanks to all of you who have watched this video through to the end. First of all, what did you think of the backstory? It's the first one I've done for any of my For Honor builds, so I'm interested in any feedback I can get. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, and consider sharing it too, in order for more people to discover my builds. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you will be able to save some lives on the battlefield.